Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjalaka Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Tisatayine. Hare Krishna, today we start a new chapter. Lord Nrsimhadev slays the king of the demons. In this chapter we will hear from about the last confrontation between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad, and then when Hiranyakashipu attempted to kill Prahlad, Lord Nrsimhadev appears and there is a fight, and Lord Nrsimhadev kills Hiranyakashipu, kills all his followers also, and then he remains very angry, sitting on the throne from Hiranyakashipu's throne. And then the last part of this chapter is that the demigods, they are all offering prayers. And at the end of the chapter, there's Lord Nrsimhadev hears his prayers, but he remains angry. So that is this chapter. In the previous chapter, we heard that Prahlad Maharaj instructed his schoolmates. In the beginning, he stressed the importance of using one's human life for progressing in devotional service, that we should not waste time, because naturally a lot of our life is already wasted just by sleeping, by playing in childhood, invalidity in old age. And then Prahlad Maharaj has given a lot of negatives that help us to understand the futility of material endeavor, and by that give it up. And then in the last part, he spoke about the positive, what to do, engagement in the service of the lotus feet of Govinda, that rendering service to him and seeing that service as one's only goal of life. That was the conclusion of the previous chapters. So after hearing the instructions of Prahlad, the students were very happy and inspired. And they all gave up their attachments, all the attachment they may have had to the instructions they received from Sanda and Amarka. So they gave up their attachments, their material attachment, and all the attachment to the material instructions they received, which had to do with Trivarga, Dharma, Artha, Kama. Yeah. So we will hear the first text. Yeah, one thing is we would go on till text 23, but text 23 is in the middle of the story. I will go up till 29, when we have to go to the point that Hiranyakashipu is killed. That Otherwise, yeah, the story is going up to a climax and then you have to stop. That's we will go till 29. That Shinarada Uvacha Atadatya Sutta Sarve Shritvatat Anuvarnitam Shahir Niravatyatvam Naiva Gorvanu Siksitam. Narada Muni continued, all the sons of the demons appreciated the transcendental instructions of Prahlad Maharaj and took them very seriously. They rejected the materialistic instructions given by their teachers, Sanda and Amarka. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, this is the effect of the preaching of a pure devotee like Prahlad Maharaj. If a devotee is qualified, sincere and serious about Krishna consciousness, and if he follows the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, as Prahlad Maharaj did, when preaching the instructions he had received from Narada Muni, his preaching is effective. What is said in Srimad Bhagavatam. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido bhavantrit karni bhavantirit karna rasayana kata tatyosna sap apavachtmani shadati bhakti anukramishati. That's the complete verse. Srila Prabhupada only mentions the first part. That so this verse is glorifying Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha, the spoken in the third canto by Kapila Muni. Mama Virya Samvido. This Krishna Katha is great power. That and it acts like Rasayana. Rasayana in Ayurvedic medicine. It's a kind of Ayurvedic medicine. Rasayana is supposed to bring a person who is almost dead back to life. That's a specific purpose of Rasayana. So that Bhavantirit Karna, Bhavantit comes down from the ear to the heart. That and in the heart, there it is relished. It acts like a rasayan. It brings us back to actual life, spiritual life. That thus the prime preaching method is this. If souls who are dead in Krishna consciousness, they are not awake, they are sleeping, then one becomes attracted somewhere or other to hearing about Krishna. This Krishna Katha enters to the ear, hearing about Krishna from devotees. So the great change that must take place in the heart is the awakening of the desire to serve, which was the conclusion of the previous chapter. That so it's a process of transforming ourselves from Hiranyakashipu to Prahlad. That so it is mentioned in this verse in the third canto that the Brahma's prayers for creative energy. From Bhakti Yoga Paribhavitarit Saroya Sesitexet Patona Tuna Tapumsam Yatyadhirata Urhaya Vibhavayanti Tatat Vapu Panayasesatanugrahaya. I'm sure you have all studied this verse in the Bhakti Vaibhava course. That but it says devotees can see through the ears of bona fide hearing. and thus their heart becomes cleansed and you take seat there. It's a very similar verse. That you are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in a particular form of transcendence in which they always think of you. So the Lord is so merciful that he appears to the devotee in a form the devotee becomes attracted to. So that was Prahlad's answer also to the question of his father, was the best you have learned, Shravana Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. If one gives up the hearing process, if one stops hearing about Krishna, that's due to offense. So Srila Prabhupada gave us his association in the purport. We need to hear them properly. So we continue reading the purport. If one tries to understand the discourses given by the Sat of pure devotees, those instructions will be very pleasing to the ear and appealing to the heart. Thus, if one is inspired to take to Krishna consciousness, and if one practices the process this process in his life is surely successful in returning home back to Godhead. By the grace of Prahlad Maharaj, all his class friends, the sons of the demons, became Vaishnavas. They did not like the hearing from their so-called teachers, Sanda and Amarka, who were interested only in teaching them about diplomacy, politics, economic development, and similar topics meant exclusively for sense gratification. So we should avoid Gramya Katha, ordinary, we can say, gossip. We should not eat fancy food, not dress fancy. Gossip brings out the horrible condition of our heart. Topics meant are exclusively for sense gratification. It creates an horrible effect within the heart, the sprouting up of material desires. What is the result of material desires? Birth, death, repeatedly. The soul has no capacity to enjoy in this world. The tendency to enjoy based on false ego is very deep within us. Krishna consciousness is a cultivation of taste. Sanda and Amarka understood what happened, and they became very fearful when they heard that Prahlad had converted all his classmates and that they had become Vaishnavas. So, when Sanda and Amarka, the sons of Sukacharya, observed that all the students, the sons of demons, were becoming advanced in Krishna consciousness because of the association of Prahlad Maharaj, they were afraid. They approached the king of the demons and described the situation as it was. So, in the purport in the middle, the fact is that anyone who associates with a pure devotee and follows his instructions becomes fixed in Krishna consciousness and is not disturbed by materialistic consciousness. The teachers particularly observed this in their students, and therefore they were afraid because the whole community of students was healthy becoming Krishna conscious. A problem for us is mostly that we don't hear Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and we don't follow. That's where our problem is. But all the schoolmates of Prahlad Maharaj became Krishna conscious. They rejected his teachings of Sunda and Amarka. When Hiranyakashipu heard it, he became infuriated, so angry that he wanted to kill Prahlad, who was just a young boy. That text 3 and 4. When Hiranyakashipu understood the entire situation, he was extremely angry, so much so that his body trembled. Thus he finally decided to kill his son Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu was by nature very cruel, and feeling insulted, he began hissing like a snake trampled upon by someone's foot. His son Prahlad was peaceful, mild, and gentle. His senses were under control, and he stood before Hiranyakashipu with folded hands. According to Prahlad's age and behavior, he was not to be chastised. Yet with staring crooked eyes, Hiranyakashipu rebuked him with the following harsh words. And text 5. That Hiranyakashipu said, "O most impudent, most unintelligent disruptor of the family, O lowest of mankind, you have violated my power to rule you, and therefore you are an obstinate fool. Today I shall send you to the place of Yamaraj." Text 6. "My son Prahlad, you rascal, you know that when I'm angry, all the planets of the three worlds tremble, along with their chief rulers, by whose power has a rascal like you become so impudent that you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you." Purport. The relationship between a pure devotee and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is extremely relishable. A devotee never claims to be powerful himself. Instead, he fully surrenders at the lotus feet of Krishna, being confident that in all dangerous conditions, Krishna will protect me. Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita 9:31, "Kaunteya parijanihi nami bhaktya pranashyati." The son of Kunti declared boldly that my devotee never perishes. The Lord requested Arjuna to declare this instead of declaring it himself, because sometimes Krishna changes his views. Therefore, people might not believe him. Thus, Krishna asked Arjuna to declare that the devotee of the Lord is vanquished. That our previous commentators, Baldev Vidyabhushan, comments on 9:31, that he sometimes, to make it more clear, he add verses to the Bhagavad Gita between the other verses. So he has done that here also. He said, so he says to Krishna, declared boldly, my devotee never perishes. And Arjuna replied, why you are asking me to declare it? Why are you not declaring it yourself? And Krishna replies, yes, I'm from Mathura, and those from Mathura, they are known as cheaters, but they will never cheat those whom they love. That's very interesting. If we love Krishna, we come under the spiritual energy. If we don't love Krishna, no devotion for Krishna, we are cheated by the material energy. We become an illusion thinking that we are this body. So that's Krishna. Hiranyakashipu was perplexed about how his 5-year-old boy, his 5-year-old boy could be so fearless that he did not care for the order of his great and powerful father. The devotee cannot execute the order of anyone except the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the position of a devotee. Hiranyakashipu could understand that this boy must have been very powerful, since the boy did not heed his orders. Hiranyakashipu asked his son, Kim Bala, how have you overcome my order? By whose strength have you done this? So this brings up the point, we can discuss that later, but Sharanagati, we surrender to the Supreme Lord. Are we all confident that the Lord will, do we have confidence in Krishna's protection? That he will protect us? But it's a fact. When we leave this body, when we leave this world, only Krishna can protect us. And now Prahlad Maharaj will answer that. Yes, he will answer there is only one source of power. Shri Parada Vacha na kevalam me bhavata sarajan savai palambaldinam sa paresam pare varesmi stirajang gramaye pramadayo yena vasam pranita. Prahlad Maharaj said, my dear king, the source of the source of my strength, of which you are asking, is also the source of yours. Indeed, the original source of all strength is one. He is not only your strength or mine, but the only strength of everyone. Without him, no one can get any strength. Whether moving or not moving, superior or inferior, everyone, including Lord Brahma, is controlled by the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prahlad Maharaj answers, there's only one source of power. That it says, Krishna gave me the power to answer you when I said Shravanam Kirtanam Vishma. So that came also from Krishna. Prahlad was experienced. Hiranyakashipu had power and he was threatening Prahlad. And Prahlad was just a boy. He remained peaceful. It's amazing. Yes. His relationship with Krishna must have been very deep to remain completely undisturbed. That he knows Krishna will protect him. So if one is completely convinced Krishna will protect me, what should he be afraid from in this world? So I took shelter of Vishnu, he said, who you see as your enemy, but there is only one enemy in this world. This is your mind, Srila Prahlad says. That there is no enemy in this world than the uncontrolled mind. And that's what he says in the next verse, that next two verses, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Supreme Controller and Time Factor, is the power of the senses, the power of the mind. the power of the body, and the vital force of the senses. Just the Supreme Personality have got it, with supreme control and time factor. The power of the senses, the power of the mind, the power of the body, and the vital force of the senses. Its influence is unlimited, is the best of all living entities, the controller of the three modes of material nature. By his power, he creates this cosmic manifestation, maintains it, and annihilates it also. Since the material world is being unmoved by the three material modes, and since the Lord is their master, the Lord can create, maintain, and destroy the material world. So we can here understand the deeper sense of Lila. Everything what all power that Hiranyakasipu has, and everything what he does, it's Krishna doing, actually. He's the source of the power. He's the power of the mind and so on. But Hiranyakasipu desires, of course, he's responsible for his actions. That so then text 9. Prahlad Maharaj continued, my dear father, please give up your demoniac mentality. Do not discriminate in your heart between enemies and friends. Make your mind equipoised toward everyone. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy in this world. That when one sees everyone on the platform of equality, one then comes the position of worshipping the Lord perfectly. That the short purport. Unless one is able to fix the mind on the lotus feet of the Lord, the mind is impossible to control. As Arjuna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sansalami Krishna Pramati Balavatritam Tasyam Niham Manye Vayariva Suduskam. For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, it seems to me more difficult than controlling the wind. The only bona fide process for controlling the mind is to fix the mind by service to the Lord. We create enemies and friends according to the dictation of the mind, but actually there are no enemies and friends. Pandita Samadarshana Samasarvesha Bhutya Mat Bhaktim Labhate Param. To understand this is a preliminary condition for entering in the kingdom of devotional service. So it means when we perform devotional service, we should not perform it mindless, but trying to do it with devotion, trying to please Krishna. That text 10. In former times there were many fools like you who did not conquer the 6 enemies that steal away the wealth of the body. These fools were very proud, thinking, I've conquered all enemies in all the 10 directions. But if a person is victorious over the 6 enemies and is equipoised toward all living entities, for him there are no enemies. Enemies are merely imagined by one in ignorance. Now, Hiranyakasipu will reply. He has his 5-year-old son, and he's telling him that yes, you should control your mind. That you should control your senses, and that and become equal to everyone. Hiranyakasipu, he had done so much austerities for thousands of years that requires sense control. And now his son is saying that, oh, you should control your sense and your mind. That so text 11. the reply of Hiranyakashipu. You rascal, you are trying to minimize my value as if you were better than me at controlling the senses. Hiranyakashipu is saying that, but he's very disturbed in mind. And Prahlad Maharaj is very peaceful, without fear. What a difference. But he's saying, yeah, you are better than me at controlling the senses, but we see in practice, he's better, yes. He's not disturbed. This is over-intelligent. I can therefore understand that you desire to die at my hands, for this nonsensical talk is indulged in by those about to die. That, of course, if we read the purport in the middle, a father does not like to be instructed by his son, especially if the father is a demon. Prahlad Maharaj Vaishnava preaching to his demoniac father was indirectly effective. For because of Hiranyakashipu's excessive jealousy of Krishna and his devotee, he was inviting Nrsimhadev to kill him very quickly. Thus he was expediting his being killed by the Lord himself. Although Hiranyakashipu was a demon, is described here by the editor Shri. Why? The answer is that fortunately he had such a great devotee as Prahlad Maharaj, that devotee son as Prahlad Maharaj. Thus, although he was a demon, he would attain salvation and turn back to Godhead. That Narada Muni did the same thing. He went to Kamsa and told him that any of these children of the Devaki could kill him. So why did Narada Muni tell that? He was trying to speed up, expedite Kamsa's and increase Kamsa's sinful activities so that the Lord would soon come and kill him. Now text 12. Hiranyakashipu will challenge Prahlad. He will say, where is your God? Where is he? O most unfortunate Prahlad, you have always described the Supreme Being other than me, a Supreme Being who is above everything, who is the controller of everyone, and who is all-pervading. But where is he? If he is everywhere, then why is he not present before me in the pillar? So an atheist, he only believes what he sees. So he's saying to Prahlad, because you are speaking so much nonsense, I will now sever your head from your body. Now let me see your worshipful God come to protect you. I want to see it, he said. So we will go back to 12 and read the beginning of the purport there. Demons sometimes declare to a devotee that they cannot accept the existence of God because they cannot see him. But what the demon does not know is that by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita, Nam Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavita, I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by Yoga Maya. The Lord is open to being seen by devotees, but non-devotees cannot see him. The qualification for seeing God is stated in Brahma Samhita. Brahmancha Suriti Bhakti Vilochanana Santasa Devadesi Vilokayanti. A devotee who has developed a genuine love for Krishna can always see him everywhere, whereas a demon, not having clear understanding of the Supreme Lord, cannot see him. When Hiranyakashipu was threatening to kill Prahlad, Prahlad certainly saw the column standing before him and his father, and he saw that the Lord was present in the pillar to encourage him not to fear his demoniac father's words. The Lord was present to protect him. Hiranyakashipu marked Prahlad's observation and asked him, "Where is your God?" Prahlad Maharaj replied, "He is everywhere." Then Hiranyakashipu asked, "Why is he not in this pillar before me?" Thus in all circumstances the devotee can always see the Supreme Lord, whereas the non-devotee cannot. So there is no place where a devotee cannot see Krishna. There's no place that and there's no place where a demon can see Krishna. So Prahlad saw Krishna in the pillar. That's now the purport of 13. Demons always think that the God of the devotees is fictitious. They think that there is no God, and that the so-called righteous feeling of devotion to God is but an opiate, a kind of illusion, like the illusion derived from LSD and opium. Hiranyakashipu did not believe Prahlad Maharaj, and Prahlad Maharaj asserted that his Lord is present everywhere, because Hiranyakashipu, as a typical demon, was convinced that there is no God and that no one could protect Prahlad. He felt encouraged to kill his son. He challenged the idea that the devotee is always protected by the Supreme Lord. Text 14. Being obsessed with anger, Hiranyakashipu, who was very great in bodily strength, thus chastised his exalted devotee son Prahlad with harsh words. Cursing him again and again, Hiranyakashipu took up his sword, got up from his royal throne, and with great anger struck his fist against the column. Then from within the pillar came a fearful sound, which appeared to crack the covering of the universe. O my dear Yudhishthira, this sound reached even the abodes of the demigods like Lord Brahma. And when the demigods heard it, they thought, "Oh no, our planets are being destroyed." While showing his extraordinary prowess, Hiranyakashipu, who desired to kill his own son, heard that wonderful tumultuous sound which has never before been heard. Upon hearing the sound, the other leaders of the demons were afraid. None of them could find the origin of that sound in the assembly. The sound emanating from Nrsimhadev was very fearful to the demoniac. So now, to prove the statement of Prahlad, first the sound came, and then Nrsimhadev came. That text 17. To prove that the statement of his servant Prahlad Maharaj was substantial, in other words, to prove that the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, even within the pillar of an assembly hall, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari exhibited a wonderful form never seen before. The form was neither that of a man nor that of a lion, thus the Lord appeared in this wonderful form in the assembly hall. So I will read the purport. When Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, "Where is your Lord? Is he present in this pillar?" Prahlad Maharaj fearlessly replied, "Yes, my Lord is present everywhere." Therefore, to convince Hiranyakashipu that the statement of Prahlad Maharaj was unmistakably true, the Lord appeared from the pillar. The Lord appeared as half lion, half man, so that Hiranyakashipu could not understand whether the great giant was a lion or a human being. To substantiate Prahlad's statement, the Lord proved that his devotee, as declared in Bhagavad Gita, is never vanquished. Kauntya Pachanihi Name Bhakta Panashati. Prahlad Maharaj's demonic father had repeatedly threatened to kill Prahlad, but Prahlad was confident that he could not be killed, since he was protected by the Supreme Lord. By appearing from the pillar, the Lord encouraged his devotees, saying in effect, "Don't worry, I'm present here." By manifesting his form as Nrsimhadev, the Lord also preserved the truth of Lord Brahma's promise that Hiranyakashipu was not to be killed by any animal or any man. The Lord appeared in a form that could not be said to be fully a man or a lion. So now the Lord appeared. 18. While Hiranyakashipu looked around to find the source of the sound, that wonderful form of the Lord, which could not be ascertained to be either a man or a lion, emerged from the pillar. In amazement, Hiranyakashipu wondered, what is this creature that is half man, half lion? So near to the end of the purport, that when Hiranyakashipu received benedictions from Lord Brahma, he thought that he was safe, since he received a benediction that he would not be killed either by an animal or by a human being. He never thought that an animal and human being would be combined, so that demons like him would be puzzled by such a form. That is the meaning of the Supreme Personality of God's omnipotence. So now we have text 19 to 22. So we see Hiranyakashipu, he had great confidence in Brahma's benediction. Hiranyakashipu studied the form of the Lord, trying to decide who was the form of Nrsimhadev standing before him. Who the form of Nrsimhadev standing before him was. The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimension of his fearful face, his deadly teeth, and his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick, his chest broad, his waist thin, and the hairs on his body as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions as he killed the demon, rogues, and atheists with his console, disc, club, lotus, and other natural weapons. Interesting. The Lord is killing also with his lotus. That's interesting. But at the other side, Hiranyakashipu had confidence in Brahman's benedictions. Imagine the arrogance and depth of the false ego of Hiranyakashipu. That Prahlad was so innocent, and he saw Krishna everywhere. 23. Hiranyakashipu murmured to himself, Lord Vishnu, who possesses great mystic power. He has made his plan to kill me. But what is the use of such an attempt? Who can fight with me? What a false ego. Thinking like this and taking up his club, Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord like an elephant. In the jungle, there are sometimes fights between lions and elephants. Here, the Lord appeared like a lion, and Hiranyakashipu, unafraid of the Lord, attacked him like an elephant. Generally, the elephant is defeated by the lion, and therefore the comparison in this verse is appropriate. So Hiranyakashipu was thinking, who can fight with me? That's interesting. If an elephant is attacking a lion, the lion will win. Srila Prabhupada says. That's amazing. That if you go to the zoo and or a wild park and you see a lion, it's so fearful. Even if they are behind bars, still you are fearful. That text 24. Just as a small insect falls forcibly into fire and the insignificant creature becomes invisible, when Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord, who was full of effulgence, Hiranyakashipu became invisible. This is not at all astonishing, for the Lord is always situated in pure goodness. Formerly, during the creation, he entered the dark universe and illuminated it by spiritual effulgence. Yeah. So can one see an insect when it falls into the fire? No. But Hiranyakashipu was so competent and had so much confidence in his own competence and power that it made him like fearless. But here his false ego is being challenged and he becomes angry. So we will read a purport, part of the purport, that it's 2/3 in the purport. The Lord appeared because of the Bhakti Yoga exhibited by Prahlad Maharaj, and as soon as the Lord appeared, the influence of Hiranyakashipu's passion and ignorance was vanquished as the Lord's quality of pure goodness. Or the Brahman effulgence became prominent. In that prominent effulgence, Hiranyakashipu became invisible, or his influence became insignificant, an example illustrating how the darkness of the material world is vanquished is given in the Shastra. When Brahma was created from the lotus stem growing from the abdomen of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Lord Brahma saw everything to be dark. But when he received knowledge from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything became clear, as everything becomes clear when one comes from the night to the sunshine. The important point is that as long as we are in the material modes of nature, we are always in darkness. This darkness cannot be dissipated without the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is invoked by the practice of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga creates a transcendental situation with no tinge of material contamination. So Prahlad Maharaj loved the Lord, and the Lord loved Prahlad, and he appeared. That when Nrsimhadev appeared, the darkness of this world disappears. So yes, as long as we are under this material nature, we are bewildered. The only way is to fix our mind on the Lord to come out of it. Now we will read the next verses up to the appearance of Lord, up to the point that Nrsimhadev kills Hiranyakashipu. Therefore the great demon Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry. Swiftly attacked Nrsimhadev with his club and began to beat him. Lord Nrsimhadev, however, captured the demon along with his club, just as Garuda might capture a snake. O Yudhishthira, O great son of Bharat, when Lord Nrsimhadev gave Hiranyakashipu a chance to slip from his hands, just as Garuda sometimes plays with a snake and let it slip from his mouth, the demigods who had lost their abodes and who were hiding behind the clouds for fear of the demon did not consider that incident very good. Indeed, they were perturbed. So we see in Varadev did the same thing with Hiranyaksa. His club slipped from his hand and went down. But it was just playing, like a cat plays with a mouse. Sometimes let it go and then catch it again. Yes. So the small purport of 26. When Hiranyakashipu was in the process of being killed by Lord Nrsimhadev, the Lord gave the demon a chance to slip from his clutches. This incident was not very much appreciated by the demigods, for they were very greatly afraid of Hiranyakashipu. They knew that if somewhere or other Hiranyakashipu escaped from Nrsimhadev's hands and saw that the demigods were looking forward to his death with great pleasure, he would take great revenge upon them. Therefore, they were very much afraid. 27. When Hiranyakashipu was freed from the hands of Nrsimhadev, he falsely thought that the Lord was afraid of his prowess. Therefore, after taking a little rest from the fight, he took up his sword and shield and again attacked the Lord with great force, making a loud shrill of laughter. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, who is extremely strong and powerful, captured Hiranyakashipu, who was protecting himself with his sword and shield, leaving no gaps open. With the speed of a hawk, Hiranyakashipu moved sometimes in the sky, sometimes on the earth, his eyes closed because of fear of Nrsimhadev's laughter. As a snake captures a mouse, or Garuda captures a venomous snake, Lord Nrsimhadev captured Hiranyakashipu, who could not be pierced even by the thunderbolt of Indra. As Hiranyakashipu moved his limbs here, there, and all around, very much afflicted at being captured, Lord Nrsimhadev placed the demon on his lap, supporting it with his thighs. In the doorway of the assembly hall, the Lord very easily tore the demon to pieces with the nails of his hand. Then all the devotees became happy. The devotees, the demigods became very happy. Yes. No, we'll have a discussion now. Tribhuvannath is writing, how can we concretely, differently Prahlad Maharaj's fate over his false ego? It is very difficult to understand because it's not properly formed according to the grammatics, but can you explain what you mean? Tribhuvannath, what's your question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you Maharaj for the time, making it more nourishing. Maharaj, we see some of the assumption Prahlad is made, speaking. Some assertion is there, extraordinary confidence like that. So how do we differentiate this faith that the scripture actually emphasizes, focus on, from his, from little ego that capture the same?
I don't understand you. It's very unclear.
Okay.
That
What I'm saying,
speak
I repeat the
slow.
question again.
Yeah.
Okay. The question is some of the words Prahlad Maharaj is using. If we underline it a little more, we see that there's some ego in it. So how do we differentiate this ego from his faith in the Lord?
Prahlad Maharaj has no false ego. It's just not there. That false ego is a characteristic of a demon. We have all false ego, means a part of us is still demon. That false ego means tendency to enjoy thinking I and mine. That's yes, Prahlad Maharaj had no false ego, so there's no question of differentiation. But for us, it may be an issue that if the point is we may have false ego, but we must act in pure devotion, and that will purify us. That yes, faith in Krishna. That we will get rid of this false ego. Anyway, Prahlad Maharaj has no false ego, so not much to say about it. That I wanted to ask you a question after hearing this. We all took to the path of devotional service, right? That are we convinced that Krishna will protect us? And what's your idea of this protection? How will he protect us? Will he protect us like Prahlad Maharaj? That so do we have faith that Krishna will protect us? That if someone wants to share his understanding of that, not only the understanding, but share also if you have instances that Krishna protected you in the past. That and yeah, it's nice to share that and how Krishna protected you. Yes, Mother Prabhupada, please.
Krishna Maharaj, thank you. Prahlad Maharaj says that the only enemy is the uncontrolled mind. So the way that Krishna protects a devotee is that he protects us from following our uncontrolled minds. So sometimes it's not that our minds are always completely under our control. Sometimes the mind goes off in some tangent, in pursuance of some material desire. And so, let's say some attachment comes up, some old attachment, something, I'm just giving an example from something from before we became a devotee, a person that we knew or something, and then that person comes to your mind, and then a lot of thoughts come up and desires arise. And then, we may feel ourselves being dragged towards that direction, which is clear to everyone else. It's clearly Maya, but it's not clear to us because our minds have out of control. So then Krishna protects us from those things. I experienced many times that, when some desire comes up that's actually counterproductive to advancement in devotional service, then even though my mind may become interested in it, Krishna will always show me very clearly that that's not in my self-interest. And so I feel like that's, you know, and he does it in different ways, but he makes it clear somehow or other. So I feel like that's Krishna's protection, that he protects us from following our uncontrolled minds. And he makes us lose faith in our minds. You know, whatever our minds are telling us, he makes us lose faith in the guidance of our minds and gain faith in him and in the path of bhakti.
Mm-hmm. That, yeah, many times I also experienced that, yes, some material desires are still there, and it pops up in your mind, and the intelligence may even make plans to execute it, but you never do it. You never do it. Then, and that's also Krishna's protection. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Vishalaksha Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada said nicely in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that Rake Krishna Mare Kon, Mare Krishna Rake Kon. So finally it's up to the Lord to protect us, either body, especially spiritually. And also Krishna has given the secret how he will protect us. He said that surrendering, somebody who surrenders, then he will protect. Sarvadharman parityaja, mamekam sharanam vraja, aham tam sarva papebhyo, mokshashyami masuja. The secret also he has given. So we may not knowing the Lord, but we have, Lord has given the protection through our spiritual master, pure devotees. The spiritual master says chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, follow regulative principles. So the protection Krishna has given us through, especially speaking to, through our spiritual master, the devotee sangha. In the devotee sangha we have protection, chanting the holy name, you know, attending Mangalarati, reading the Bhagavatam, hearing from Vaishnava. So these all the elements somehow given us a protection. Like Prahlad Maharaj also explained, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So by doing this, actually many incidents we feel also that Lord is, you know, protecting through our spiritual master. Some of the experience also we have. Like I remember at least one time, once I went for book distribution. Can I share, Maharaj? Is it all right?
Yeah, but not too long. Not too long.
Once we went for book distribution to one of the house. So the gate was big. So there was a bulldog inside the house. I do not know there is a bulldog inside. So I went straight forward inside and I knocked the door. And then somehow bulldog came out. But the bulldog grounded on me, but smelled me. But I was just chanting and I was holding Prabhupada books to distribute. So then the owner came, ran, he came very fastly. First he took the dog, put inside, then he chastised me, saying that this dog is very dangerous. He has bitten more than 10 people till now. Somehow he left you, don't come, like that. And he took Prabhupada books, came out. So Lord, many ways.
Yeah, sure. But Lord Krishna says, Ananya Sintyantaram Gijna Payapastiti Samnitya Vyuktyam Yurikshem Famyam. Krishna says, I protect what you have. And I give you everything you need.
I preserve what you.
Yeah, but of course, referring to the body or referring to the soul at different points of view. Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he takes the viewpoint of the soul. And that's, the soul has to be protected. That's most important. That protection from recycling, birth and death and so on. Thank you for sharing that interesting story.
Thank you.
Satyavrata Prabhu, please speak.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances to your feet. My personal understanding of protection is that we know that dharma rakshati rakshata. If you follow the religious principles definitely will be protected by dharma. So generally protection, it is not that our body, it's a protection of our consciousness. Somehow or other we have to always remember Krishna, whatever circumstance it may be. Like in Bhishmadev's prayer, Bhishmadev was telling to Yudhishthira, Dharma, Vipra Dharma Achyuta Asraya. As long as we take shelter of Brahmanas and guided by bona fide spiritual master and follow the religious principle, will be protected. So this thing again and again I have been seeing in my life, that when I joined Krishna consciousness, I have a mentor who always, he gives very good teachings and taking care of everything. But one time came when he was deviating the principle, going away from his spiritual master. So that time it was a great challenge, because I have already working under him since many years. Then and we didn't have access to our spiritual master that time. So it's a very difficult time. So somehow or other, we pray to Krishna and all, somehow or other, then we have come back to our initiating spiritual master. So this way we are protected. And many other examples also we have seen, that as long as we remember Krishna, somehow or other, he makes an arrangement so that we are in the right track. Like I have seen also many things, like my daughter's marriage or my personal job and all these things. So I have feel complete protection how to execute my devotional service. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that is interesting that we heard in the first canto Bhishmadev telling to Yudhishthira Maharaj that if you always follow the religious principles, then you will be protected by these religious principles. But Lord Krishna does not only protect our consciousness, that in the case of Prahlad, he protected his body, because his consciousness, he was already on the highest platform. But for us, yes, Krishna will protect our consciousness, that somewhere or another we get a situation wherein we make spiritual advancement. Thank you for sharing this. Sanak Sanatan Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna. There's two things. Basically, yes, on a personal level, but I've spent many years, it's quite some time back, on Padiyatra in India. And so more we're actually engaging in preaching, and so more we're actually bringing ourselves in a risky environment in that sense. We can almost on a daily level see how the Lord is making arrangement. We're just living in our day-to-day sadhana, simple life, we sometimes don't see. But when we actually go out for preaching and we're actually taking risk, we can see the Lord is actually as being in every atom and as being in everyone's body as a Paramatma. He can make an amazing arrangement in the form of protection, as well as also that he brings people to buy a book or things like that. So when you're out there in the Maya world, then the Lord is actually really making an endeavor to protect his devotees. I've seen it so many times. So that makes your faith very, very strong.
Okay. That is. That's what Prahlad Maharaj said in a previous chapter. The best service is preaching, and then these things come out. Thank you. That's very nice. So, Mashrinya Prabhu, does your microphone work now?
I think now it is working, Maharaj.
Very good. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that.
Hare Krishna, it is working now,
Yeah,
Maharaj.
sure.
You can hear.
We are hearing you very nicely, yes.
Thank you, Maharaj. So I have one more realization, Maharaj, which I would like to share, and I want to confess that now I stopped saying that I am following 4 regulative principles. Rather, I say that I am made to follow the 4 regulative principles, because the Lord is so kind that when the mind deviates and when I try to go out, then also He protects. He does not allow me. And several times I have seen in so many small incidences and big incidences, when I think like I trying to enjoy some particular type of food, or trying to enjoy some flight or something, or whatever I tried, and then He frustrated me completely. Yeah, the whole experience got completely shattered. So this is the special mercy, the Lord, that how He protects, and how our acharyas, they are protecting. This is very unique,
Yeah.
which maintains us.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes.
Thank you.
Mother Kasturica, please speak.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Can you
Yes.
hear me now?
Very clearly. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm also learning to start saying how Lord protects. It's in my beginning days of my Krishna consciousness. One of my friend bought a ticket for me to come to Krishna consciousness. So I was very grateful to him, and I never wanted to leave the friendship or company. But somehow my spiritual master was very strong on me, saying that you should leave the company of this association. But then I wasn't ready to do that because I was grateful. But then soon I have seen how the association of that person was very bad, and it was affecting me. And slowly I left, and I realized how much it protected me. And the same thing, in my career as well, I was into science and I was doing experiments. And when it came to the end of the study, my experiment failed. The whole years of work has failed. And I was thinking, oh, I'm such a failure. But after a few months, I went to see a friend. And when I saw him doing experiments on the animals, and then when I was coming back home, I was thinking, oh, I'm glad that I failed, because such a cruelty you have to implement on the animals. So sometimes failures are not really failures, but they're really protection. And I'm so grateful that those things happen to me. I mean, of course, many things, but yeah, these 2 things stand in my life. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm also thinking sometimes that you go to the airport to take the airplane, and the traffic is as such, and you miss the airplane. Is it good? Is it bad? That we have seen instances where a person misses an airplane, and then the airplane gets an accident and all the people die. So you don't know that, but this fate that whatever happens, good or bad, is Krishna's mercy. That's important to cultivate for us. That okay, I'm going, when you speak, I'm going to mute my mic because they are working at the other, breaking down things at the other side of the wall, but I'm hearing you. Muralidhar Syampavu, please speak.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I got some realizations, because I see when Prahlad Maharaj said about protecting, the Lord is protecting, I can see the Lord also protecting the demon Hiranyakashipu. When we see the partiality of the Lord in the beginning, why the Lord giving the form of demon, because you want to punish and the soul come back to him. This is kind of protections, like we have seen the Shishupal, where even a Shishupal, the Lord want to protect him to commit, to save him to, rather than commit more mistakes, so he stopped, so the soul can come back to him. So in this, what I don't know, is it I'm speculating or what this is, I'm realize it. And I got my personal experience where recently they have a traveling program where I'm waiting for one devotee should come in a time. Then I was like pissed up. The time is going like anything. Then the devotee apologized. He said that I don't know. I end up like, then when we go, I say, okay, no problem. We just call whatever Krishna plans also, right? When it happened, we see that a big accidents happen before us. Then luckily, I thought this is a plan of Krishna protecting us from made an accident or whatever might be happened. This is what I have experienced this recently, but a few days ago.
So, I want to thank Prabhu for his comments. That I said before, a devotee accepts whatever good or bad as Krishna's mercy. That good or bad is Krishna's mercy. And for the demons, he punishes them. But that's for their good, that's for their reformation, to bring them back home. So the Lord is all good. Whatever he does is for the benefit of everyone. And that faith we should have. So the last one, Avinash Mathur, please speak.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I also only want to add my personal experiences that in last many years, I felt that whenever I felt sick, some ailment came. It only strengthened my resolve to go deeper into devotion. So the coming of this bodily disease is also a sort of protection by the Lord. That is one point. And so any adversity, in fact, is a protection, may be seen as a second point is I would like to take up this last point by Muralidhar Prabhu and yourself also. I also many times keep feeling all the time that Lord is not only Bhakta Vatsala but Sarva Vatsala, because any treatment that comes by divinity is for their promotion into devotional consciousness, is further developed of that jiva. So in that sense, the Lord is Sarva Vatsala. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Sarva Vatsala. Yes, he is the well-wisher of everyone, the friend of everyone. So, thank you. So now, tomorrow we will. Oh, there is another question. When a demon like Hiranyakashipu is very determined, is it really mental control that? Well, the demons you control your mind with your intelligence. That, or not control, but you direct your mind with your intelligence. If the intelligence is spiritual, based on transcendental knowledge, then it will lead to proper control of the senses and the mind. But if the intelligence is material, then yes, the demoniac person will use his intelligence to make plans to attain his goal, and he will direct his mind to fulfill this. So that is also a form of mental control, but for the bad purpose. But that mental control, that so-called mental control, is due to an uncontrolled mind, the fulfillment of material desires. So it's not really mental control. He's controlled by his mind, and he serves his mind and uses intelligence with great determination to do that. And that's what it really is. I hope that clarifies that. Good. Tribhuvannath Prabhu, the questions you are asking, they don't make sense. You have to learn proper English and write it in a very simple way, your questions. You are trying to use big words, but that doesn't befit you. Be humble and ask a very simple question. That because otherwise I lose my time by things I cannot understand because they are not properly explained. Good. We continue tomorrow. Oh, Muralidhar Shyam Prabhu wants to say something. Please speak.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, in the first verse of this chapter, and we see that as a preacher, it's been explained, as we are preaching, sometimes we might feel like down when we distribute book or we preach to the class where we see there are no effects. So how to make us to be to interest or to keep inspired to preach and it make us our preaching is fact, Maharaj. So can you give some tips or something to follow? Because there are many instructions that we can take it. So how we want to take it as a personal life to improve our, especially my spiritual life as a preaching, Maharaj. That's all. This is my question.
Yeah, I don't know if I understand your question right. That you are preaching and sometimes you may become disencouraged, and then how to get the inspiration to continue. That's what I understand from your question. Is that correct?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. That yes, that's what a devotee must learn. Failure or success are the pillars of success. They are failure or success we should not consider, in the sense that failure, we learn from our failures, or we should try to learn, and it helps us also to advance. That failure, so we always, because there is one point, you want to give a book to someone. The devotee wants to be merciful, but the devotee is also in the heart of that book. It's also present in the heart of the person to whom you preaches, and it will be up to Krishna to decide if this person is ready to receive your book or not. So there are more factors involved. But we should be convinced just an attempt trying to give the book, just trying to do that will please Krishna, just the attempt itself. And yes, whether you are success or failure, it's up to Krishna, but that's the external result. Internally, you are always the winner. that, of course, we strive to have the good results, and we try to learn. Krishna is helping us to make progress. That so we should not be disheartened, and sometimes it's going very difficult. It's not an easy service. Maya is not going to agree with you if you preach. So obstacles will be there. And think of Srila Prabhupada. Did he had obstacles? A lot of obstacles, and he was a pure devotee. It is just the fight. Srila Prabhupada had obstacles in Mumbai with Mr. Nair, and it was a big fight. A big fight with the demons. And Srila Prabhupada, after it was over, he said, this was a good fight. So we must be ready for this. If Maya discourages, it should strengthen our faith in Krishna. Yes. Good. Mother Prabhupada Priya, please speak.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was just thinking a little bit about the point that was brought up in text 11, where it starts Shri Hiranyakashipu Vacha, and Prabhupada says that he translates Shri there as blessed, and he was blessed because he was a devotee actually, and he was harassing Prahlad just to expedite his being killed by the Lord. So then I was kind of linking that idea with in text 13, where he says, now let me see your most worshipful God come to protect you. I want to see it. So could we say that in text 13, Hiranyakashipu is actually expressing a desire to see the Lord, that it's the devotee in him coming out saying that I want to see the Lord and I want to see how he always protects his devotees?
Well, of course, Hiranyakashipu is covered by Maya, that it's maybe Yoga Maya, that for the pastimes of the Lord. So usually the demons, Krishna makes sure they play their role perfectly and covers their Krishna consciousness practice completely. So that they can perform their job very nicely. But this may be something that may be there in the subconsciousness of Hiranyakashipu, because it was his previous life. But to say that he was consciously thinking like that, I don't think so, because he plays the role of a demon and is covered. But it's an interesting point, and one can also say he was called Shri because he was a devotee who was playing the role of a demon. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was thinking, sometimes the demons say something that appears to be offensive to the Lord, but then the acharyas change it into a glorification. So yeah, I was thinking it could be something like that, like his words are coming out in anger, like a challenge, but then there could be some truth to it in a devotional sense too.
Yeah, you have many times that double meaning, like you had the blasphemy of so-called blasphemy of Shishupal. The Sanskrit is as such that you can take it in two meanings, and the other meaning is a glorification of Krishna.
Yeah.
So
same with Hiranyaksha when he was blaspheming Varahadev.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Baruch Savat, I think they call it. Yeah, two meanings. You find that also when the gopi is speaking, it's always Baruch Savat, two meanings, and you hear one meaning, the direct meaning, but then the other meaning. If you hear the other meaning, you start smiling. Oh, you understand their inner intention. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Mother Lalita Priti Maya, please speak.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, in Shloka 9 and 10, Prahlad Maharaj says that we have to see everyone equally because of the 6 enemies. we consider someone to be our enemy or someone to be our friend. So it's all the activities of mind. So we should conquer the mind, like we have to control the mind. And sometimes even in our Krishna conscious society, there are some devotees who are little crooked in the mentality, who always wants to put others down. So we know that their behavior is like this. So when we already know that person is such of behavior, so how do we see them in equal mentality, and how do we protect ourselves from being abused, Maharaj?
Yeah, that first of all, that if someone gives us trouble, that we should understand this is a reaction from the past. We should not blame the person who brings us the reaction. That on the other side, protect ourselves from abuse. Yeah, that's always the point. If you're in a demoniac society, if you become the servant, people may exploit you, that and abuse you. That, but some abuse may also be a reaction to our past karma, and we have just to tolerate it. But the devotee is independent, that he doesn't care for fame or infamy of all these things, that let come, what Krishna gives me. This is mercy. That, and that's something we have to learn, a hard lesson to learn. But we need to learn that don't be afraid. If they so-called abuse you and so on, yes, let it be. We tolerate, but at the same time we become detached from the situation. That and we will not try in the future to create similar situations. We have to learn from it. But of course, we have to consider the situation. Every situation is different, and there are so many factors. That, on your question, I cannot say black or white. You have to consider. And if you don't see what to do, you consult with mentors, because material life is complicated. You can never win it. But mostly we suffer because our mind is too attached to the situation. That it is a fact. We are in Kali Yuga. People will abuse you. People will blaspheme you. People will give you trouble. That and that is also, even in a society of devotees, we have that we have to be very careful. Thank you. I'm looking forward to see you tomorrow. We will hear the prayers of all these demigods, these prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev, and we will see that they have different mentalities, and that they are speaking out of their own perception and experience. And that's different from Prahlad's perception, which will, Prahlad's view and perception we will learn in chapter 9 on Saturday, where Prahlad Maharaj will pray to the Supreme Lord. These are prayers of a pure devotee. Tomorrow we will hear the prayers of demigods, but still materially contaminated. And so we will hear about all the reactions from different modes of nature. It will be interesting. We can learn learn from that and look in our heart. Do we have similarly perceptions of the world. If not, if so, then we have to go into to correct ourselves in our heart and remove these false perceptions by purifying ourselves. Thank you very much. Jai Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Jai.